Good morning, afternoon, and evening, my friends. How are you all doing? My name is MiAh the King, and always remember to never mix up yellow snow and lemon snow cones. Alright? Now then, today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam called Undead Inc., a simulation strategy game with a self-proclaimed high-risk, high-reward resource management simulator feel, where you basically become an evil corporation's laboratory, I think? It sounds pretty cool. Developed by Right-Sized Games and published by Team 17, released not in early access and selling for $20. So, what is this game? Well, to make a long story short, this is a game about you working as a director for this branch of a big pharma tech company, and as we all know, big pharma is evil. So basically, you need to reach your quota at the next big investors meeting, and you'll stop at nothing to do that, which means researching and selling dangerous technologies and medicines. That's pretty much the game, and its story. You pick a character to play as. Right now, there are three: a white man, a black man, and a white woman. Each has their own stats, perks, personalities, and backstories, etc. That's now you. Now run your company to new heights and don't piss off the media, the cops, or the investors. This is one of those games that really require a significant amount of time to see everything it has to offer, and in that sense, I won't be able to look at everything here, but I hope you'll stick around anyway to see what the game has to offer. I won't get all of it, but I'll get the general feel of it, and hopefully offer you enough information to make a decision. So yeah, that's about it. It's a side-scroller simulation game. Now then, let's go into the good and the bad, followed by my final thoughts, shall we? Up first for the positives is the sound design. The music comes and goes, but when it does show up, it's not overbearing or annoying. In fact, it's kind of awesome. However, unfortunately, it's kind of rare, so despite all my recording, I barely have any recorded for you to listen to at all, and that's really unfortunate. The sound effects are great, though. It all sounds perfectly futuristic and realistic at the same time, and everything has a sound effect, which is nice. There's good ambiance, too, which I love because it helps set the mood and bring the player in. The game has partial voice acting, and it's very nice to listen to as well. So, yeah, overall, the sound design is a big plus in my opinion. Next up for the positives is the graphics. Now, despite the game obviously not going to have the biggest, bestest graphics, it still looks nice with the limited amount of room they have to work with. There's good fluid of motion, there's good attention to detail, the shadow effects and coloring, as well as good contrast, and for a game like this, you really want those things. They have stuff going on in the background, and the color scheme they chose here really works well for the whole, dark and dreary thing they're going for. Not the best thing to look at, sure, but what they do have here works well for what they wanted to present to us. But keep in mind, the textures on the model people themselves do seem a little bit off. Just don't look too closely at them. The next good thing I want to talk about is the price tag. With the sound design, the graphical integrity, the gameplay, the tutorial, and literally everything else, I definitely did not expect what I got. I mean, for 20 bucks, I was expecting something of a lot lower quality, but holy cow, this game is a steal. Probably worth $30, to be honest, at least in my opinion. I mean, there's so much to this game, you are definitely not getting screwed over with that price tag. It is worth more than it's charging, and that fact needs to be stated and remembered. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the stability of the game. It didn't really have any bugs or glitches. Well, I mean, technically it did. But, I mean, it's kind of a minor issue. I mean, it didn't break the game or stop anything. You'll find little glitches like this here and there, but for my playthrough, it never really got to a point of irritation, annoyance, or game-breakingly bad. For the most part, the game was smooth, stable, and played very well. And last but not least for the positives is the gameplay. The gameplay here is exceptional. I don't know what I was expecting, but this wasn't it. There's a lot here, so let me just try to sum it all up. Also, if I sound a little bit off, I apologize. I think I'm coming down with a bug or something and it's messing with my throat, so I do apologize if I sound a little bit off. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to try to sum this up. The gameplay, that is. You can build rooms, as you do in these kinds of side-scrolling simulators. Each room serves a purpose. You can hire staff for each room, build rooms that increase the number of staff you have, yada yada yada. But you will also receive random reports of events happening around the city, which may or may not affect your company. Like, there's a rumor of a big flu coming about, and you got to make sure you've got the flu medicine in stock, stuff like that. You'll also have decisions to make, which, with these random pop-up stories that they'll also have some kind of effect on you. Like, one of them asked me if I wanted to use a dog for my experiments, and that would have given me some mutagen, or I could give it back to the people and give me some positive media press. Well, I'm not about to hurt no dog, so I gave it back to the people, even though my media was just fine. Then you've got research, both legal and illegal, and production facilities of both legal and illegal. The illegal ones can get you busted, so you have to keep it all secret by building those related rooms underground. If the media, the cops, or even some of your more innocent staff figure out what you're doing, you could be in big trouble. So you gotta hire staff who won't care about the illegal stuff you're doing, and also make sure you try to keep it all secret. What illegal stuff, you might be wondering? Well, researching super soldier serums that end up creating zombies, of course, or mass-producing illegal weapons to sell on the black market, or any number of things related to those previous two that I mentioned, all to make more money for the company overlords. And there's also combat in this game. The gunplay, it's kind of awkward. Luckily, you don't really need to do much. You just kind of send your security to an area and watch them fight it out. But, you know, there will be consequences depending on what you do or what happens. I'm not going to spoil it here, but there is combat. It's a little bit wonky, but at least it's there. It's also kind of cool, and also it's also kind of unfortunate, some of the stuff that can happen because of it. And I'm, again, not going to tell you. You got to experience that for yourself. The point is, there's a lot to do and see in this game's gameplay, and all of it was fairly seamless, interesting, and engaging. Play however you want, just, you know, don't miss your payment to the company overlords. Alright, so that's all the positives I felt worth mentioning. Now on to the negatives. However, I gotta say, I'd really appreciate it if all of you out there could support the growth of my channel. You can hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. Those really help, and I love to see my community getting bigger and to communicate and talk with you guys. But you could also share my content and my channel online to help me get more out there, to get more noticed. YouTube doesn't really spread me around all that much because I'm so small, so I really need the community to help me out. So if you found this video entertaining or at least informative, then please consider supporting me. Thank you. Now then, on to the negatives, and the first negative is the writing. Now don't get me wrong, it's not super awful or anything, but the dialogue in this game is all written text, and sometimes the grammar is off, or it's written very poorly, or whatever, and it's kind of cringe to read. As for the main story and plot, it's generic, but it's still different from other stuff that we've seen, you know, in terms of gameplay. But overall, it was kind of a letdown when everything else in the game seemed to be designed fairly well. Next up is the user interface. I hate it. The text will come in different sizes just to confuse you, I guess. Sometimes you'll get brief, helpful information, and other times you'll get long sentences of exaggerated info that I don't really need. And then they give a bunch of information you don't want or need, and it takes up space. Plus, the UI, the user interface, is kind of annoying and confusing to navigate, along with having 3 different functions for moving your camera, which also coincide with commands you can give to your people. I don't understand the purpose of that. Plus the lack of tooltips, so like, there's no added help or information when you need it. There's a yellow triangle in one of my rooms. When I click on the room, it says caution. Okay, great. I'll get right on that. Like, come on, there's no hovering tooltips over anything, and this game desperately could use them with there being so much to learn, look at, and manage. It's really frustrating, so you better start memorizing what everything does, because the game won't even tell you what everything does. They just say you need to do this, go to this page, but then nothing else. So you're pretty much just guessing. See all the stuff on the screen, see all the buttons and the clickers and stuff? You have no idea what they mean, and neither do I, because the game never told me, and doesn't give pop-up tooltips. So that's awful. And not only that, but sometimes the command functions just don't work. Or even worse, I tell my people to go somewhere, and they end up going there just to immediately take off to go somewhere else, despite the fact that I'm still controlling them, which makes it really hard to plan or organize my people when I need them. You can't build anywhere unless you can see it, which is kind of dumb, but yeah, so when you need to see an area, you want people there, but they won't stay there for some reason. And last but not least is the tutorial. It's below average. No, it's below average. I was going to say it's average, but it's actually below average. I mean, sure, it teaches you what you need to know, kinda. It's a tutorial operating at 50% capacity, I think. It tells you, what you need and why, then tells you how, but only in broad speaking terms. For instance, they say you need to build a doctor's office to see patients and make money. Okay, fair enough. They tell you to go here, click this, build it there, click there. Okay, done, fair enough. Doctor's office built. And now that's it. That's all you get. You don't get no more information anywhere, ever. I mean, I kind of have some questions here. I mean, do my doctors gain experience? Can I raise my prices? Do they need inventory or equipment? What does this particular button do? No? Nothing? Okay, moving on. I guess I won't manage my doctors then. And it's kind of like that for everything. I have no idea if I'm selling the product I'm producing. I have no idea how much it's selling for. I have no idea how much is in storage. I mean, I have to go into my production queue menu where I order more to be produced just to see how many I have, which is a very annoying roundabout way to do it for a simulator game. So, yeah, the tutorial only barely teaches you the bare bones of the basics when, for a game like this, you really need a lot more. Even after playing it for a couple hours, I still barely knew what I was doing. Most things I was just guessing on, and I will never have a legit answer to what this is or what that even does. Also, the tutorial was boring and plain, just random pop-up that gives you a paragraph of information slide after slide, telling you what to do and where, which is an annoying type of tutorial in my opinion. Alright, so that's all the negatives that I felt worth mentioning. So what are my final thoughts? Well, honestly, I think the game is really interesting. It has its problems, but it's still a really fun simulation game. I love the idea of working for an evil pharmaceutical company that ends up creating a zombie apocalypse, and this game really does that well. There's a lot of quality design choices in this game, all for only $20. I didn't feel like I was playing a $20 game. It felt way bigger and better than that. So I guess overall, I really liked the game. It was interesting, intuitive, well put together, played smoothly, and had a really good concept and an idea of how to go about doing it. So yeah, I liked it. Would I recommend it? I mean, yeah, if you like to play simulator games, then yes, absolutely. This game was a lot of fun, and there's so much more there that I haven't even touched yet. There's a lot to explore here. There's a lot of really good qualities, and in my opinion, they far outweigh the bad ones. So yes, I recommend you try this game out. You won't be disappointed. All right, everyone? All right, so that's all the time I got for this video today. Thanks so much for watching, with a special thanks to those of you who stuck around to the end. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.